Hi guys, it's Frankie from Frankie Tech. Good to see you guys again, and I'm here today to give my quick 2-week update on my time with this K30 Ultra. Now, I've spent a lot of time talking about the Mi 10 Ultra in a lot of videos, but recently I've not given a dedicated bit of time to this phone, and it is, in my opinion, the ultimate value champ of 2020. And that's a title that I think this phone is going to hold for a long time. Guys, the drilling today has been absolutely just horrendous, and so I think I have like 10 minutes of a window of time to film here. So let me just share my thoughts about this phone after 2 weeks. How is it holding up so far? It is holding up beautifully, guys. Every time I look at the back of this phone, I'm still stunned as the day that I got it, and I have no regrets picking this color. I know that there are some other colors available of this phone, but in my opinion, it's the most standout color of this K30 Ultra. And this phone has received a number of software updates. Here you see I am now on MIUI version 12.0.8, and I will admit there was a little bit of jankiness when I would pull down the control center in previous versions of MIUI 12 of this phone. That jankiness has gone away, and now it's a much smoother experience using this MIUI 12 control center on this phone. And the display has just been incredible. Every time I switch back from the Mi 10 Ultra to this phone, I just remind myself how much I appreciate flat panel displays. The Mi 10 Ultra's display is gorgeous, but there's always going to be that kind of green kind of discoloration that happens on curved displays that you just don't see here on this K30 Ultra. And the 120 Hz refresh rate has been transformational on a phone at this price point. I think it's incredible that Xiaomi was able to bring AMOLED 120 Hz to this K30 Ultra at 2000 RMB, and now we see phones like the Realme X2 Pro trying to catch up with this spec list on this phone. Beyond that, the performance has been solid, and yet I can tell you guys I still have not been able to get past 500,000. It'll be interesting once I'm able to get the Realme X2 Pro in my hands if it has the same issue here as this K30 Ultra, because they are touting a 540,000 Antutu score for that phone. But despite that, guys, the Dimensity 1000 is a terrific chipset, and generally speaking, it's been a very fast and fluid experience. Now, I will say there's a slight performance difference between this Dimensity 1000 Plus and the Snapdragon 865 on the K30 Pro. There's just something about the speed on something like the 865 that I feel is a little bit better than this phone. But despite that, guys, I still think the 1000 Plus is a terrific chipset, and I can't wait to test it out on another phone, the Realme X2 Pro, and compare it to this K30 Ultra very soon. Battery life has been solid, guys, easily lasting a day or two, and with the light use I've been giving it, one thing I've noticed is that the standby on this phone is incredible. I charged this phone yesterday, and you see it now, 87%. It probably drops around 10% every 24 hours. So if you just left this phone sitting around, it will probably die in about 7 to 10 days, and I consider that pretty stellar battery life in my opinion. Audio performance has been solid, and do I miss the 3.5mm headphone jack? I do not. But if that is important to you, then phones like the POCO F2 Pro and the K30 Pro are probably a better option. And last but not least, as you guys saw from my camera comparisons before, this Sony IMX682, despite not having 4K 60 on board, is still producing great results on this K30 Ultra. And I actually preferred the shots that this K30 Ultra took over the K30 Pro and the Redmi 10X Pro. And so this K30 Ultra, I think, will continue to be the best phone you can buy at this price point. And in many ways, this phone is the ultimate OnePlus Nord killer because of just how much value it is able to offer you. A metallic build and just amazing design. In many ways, this K30 Ultra is the gold standard of a sub $300 phone today. But that being said, I know that a lot of you guys are considering other options while you're looking at this K30 Ultra, and also knowing that it's a China-only release may make you pause. And obviously phones like the Realme X2 Pro, the upcoming Mi 10T Pro, the upcoming POCO X3 are all going to be vying for your attention as well. But we do have another phone, as you guys know, that I still consider the best Realme phone available, the Realme X2 Pro. And I've received a number of people asking, Frankie Tech, how would you compare these two phones? Especially because the Realme X2 Pro is now available in certain markets for an even lower price. And the other big question I've received is, Frankie Tech, how can you compare this K30 Ultra to the K30 Pro? Or in the case of a lot of you guys, because you're in global markets, the POCO F2 Pro. Guys, I think when it comes down to it, certain factors will sway you in either direction. Number one, if you're a Realme fan, but even if you're not, but you just just want some of the top features that this X2 Pro is offering, like that 50-watt fast charging, the previous generation 855 Plus, which is still performing like a champ, and still a very good quality design here, metallic build, and an aluminum frame, which is not something I can say for phones like the OnePlus Nord or the Realme X7 Pro, then yeah, this Realme X2 Pro is still an incredible phone for the price. And if you can get it in that $300 to $400 US price range of this K30 Ultra, you may be happier with it. And in the case of the POCO F2 Pro, it's going to come down to one thing alone. How much do you value refresh rate? Because let me tell you, the panel on this POCO F2 Pro, K30 Pro, is great. But once you've gone and compared it to 120 Hz on this K30 Ultra, it's going to be very hard to go back. And I think in a way Xiaomi knows that this 120 Hz refresh rate is such a killer feature that if they did release this phone globally, it would completely cannibalize sales of this POCO F2 Pro. The 90 Hz refresh rate on the Realme X2 Pro is still though very much competitive, and it is also available for global purchase, so that is a plus point in its favor as well. I don't think you can go wrong with any of these phones, to be honest, but if you value that spec, that AMOLED 120 Hz spec at the lowest price possible in 2020, you have your choice, guys. And like I said before, the import prices of this phone will only get better over time. The phone that I'm going to continue using most of the time between these three is the K30 Ultra. But hit me up in the comments. What do you think of this K30 Ultra now that the release hype has kind of died down and you're starting to see this phone for what it is? Do you still think it's a terrific release, or do you still value other releases like this Realme X2 Pro or the K30 Pro, POCO F2 Pro? Hit me up in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. And that's it for this video. If you liked it, give me that thumbs up. And if you love the content of Frankie Tech, subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon for future updates. So thanks for watching, guys. More great content coming here on the channel as long as I can film while this drilling is not happening, because it is driving me insane. But I'm going to try to work around it and appreciate all your understanding. So that's it. And this is where I leave you by saying, this is Frankie Tech signing off. Have a good one.